Hey guys, it's me, Verilyn. Today's Sunday. It's 8:34 p.m. and I'm in my kitchen. And yes, I put on a little makeup for you guys today because I haven't really been feeling well. I spent most of the day in bed watching Iyanla Fix My Life because I'm getting ready to get rid of cable. Yeah, budget is tight, so I've decided, you know what, I really don't need cable. I have my computer, so I had to watch all the things on my DVR. And a lot of those episodes where Iyanla Fix My Life, and watching her shows back to back to back, I feel like she has this really like sister girl way to kind of call you on your BS that I really appreciate, and it got me thinking about who in my life is that for me. And I feel like I'm that for my friends, but who is that for me? So I watched particularly, I mean, all of them were super impactful to me. All of them made me cry in one way or another. Side note, I cry at almost everything, so that's not saying much. But the one with her and Sheree. So if you don't know, Sheree is the reality show from Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't even know what to call her. Reality show. I don't want to say star, but reality show cast member from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She wasn't on it this past season, but she's been one of the first ones and been on it for all the seasons before. And she came on. So all throughout the show, we've heard about her husband, who basically is a deadbeat, not taking care of his responsibilities, not taking care of his children. And on Iyanla Fix My Life, she was on there with him to kind of mend their relationship or bring it to a point for which they can, now that they're divorced, can pretty much co-parent in an amicable way. And when I'm sure Sheree went on that show thinking, you know, oh, Iyanla's going to have my back, you know, because probably the facts are there. He's a deadbeat or he hasn't been taking care of his responsibilities. And Iyanla, and then, you know, on the show, we know that Sheree has this house that she's been building, like this big, huge mansion. And I remember when they were showing it on the show, and at the same time, there were rumors about her like being broke. And I just always felt like, why is she building this huge, gigantic house if she doesn't have money, right? So there was a moment when Iyanla said, like, if you think, she goes, sister girl, beloved, if you think that house is about your kids or, you know, about providing for your kids, then you are mistaken. Like, she says it in such a way. First of all, she compliments you. She calls you a queen. She'd be like, queen, you are out of order. And like, it always, like, in those moments, and you could tell Sheree was definitely shaken up. And there was even a scene, the next scene, afterwards, you could tell it wasn't a planned scene. It was Sheree pretty much saying like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. Let's get this clear. Because Sheree is used to reality TV. She knows how things are edited. So I'm sure after that scene, she was like, oh, trying to check me? You know what I mean? And she almost didn't receive what Iyanla was telling her, which is open your eyes, take responsibility for the role that you're playing in this. And, you know, that, yes, there is bitter. You are bitter, and in a way, I feel like she has a right to be bitter, because basically her ex-husband was saying, not bitter, it's never okay to be bitter, but I understand where she's coming from in the sense that you're with a man that basically is pretty much saying, I never really loved you, and I don't want anything to do with you. That hurts for a woman to hear, especially if you have kids with him. But at the same time, what were your intentions going into it? Like, why did you choose this particular man? Why did you have 2 kids with him if he wasn't doing what he has to do after the first one? And Iyanla really did a good job of calling her out on that, which I love, because, you know, as much as I'm pro-woman and as much as, you know, we could sit here and point out all his flaws, she had a role to play in that. And so, you know, I watched that one. I watched the one that made me cry was the one with Mia. Is that her name? I know B. Campbell. Anybody that knows B. Campbell's work, I love B. Campbell's books. And it's funny because I just realized, I never knew that Mia is B. Campbell's daughter. And anyone that knows In the House, that old show with LL Cool J, she was in that show. And I never knew that she had bipolar disease. But I do remember reading B. Campbell's 72-Hour Hold, which was a book about a mother dealing with her daughter who had the bipolar disease, and how like once she turned a certain age, she could no longer make her go into a 72-hour hold or pretty much make her take her medication. So it was interesting to kind of now see probably the daughter that did inspire that, and it was just wow, like this how much like it's the bipolar disease or any mental disease is a disease that's telling you that you're not sick, and it's a disease that because it's telling you that you're not sick, therefore you're not taking your medication. Anyway, I don't really want to go into the different stories. So yeah, so in all of these episodes, Iyanla pretty much made people face their own fault in the situation. There was another one with an Atlanta DJ and her relationship with her son and her husband, and how basically she told her son that she would never find another man. She would never get married again, and she brings a man into their home after knowing him for 3 months. Well, she knew the guy for 6 months, but then she introduced him to her son, and then 3 months later they got married, right? So like in all these situations, there are women that Iyanla is pretty much calling to the table. And this is a woman, like anyone that knows Iyanla Vanzant from like, her books earlier. I mean, I was a little young at the time, but I remember seeing them on my mother's bookshelf. Yesterday I Cried, and like all these books that are, now that I'm older, I should re-pick them up, because at the time I probably didn't get the impact of them. And she's pretty much telling women to take responsibility and calling them out in a way that's like, I love you, but look at what's going on here. And I'm just like, wow, who in my life do I have that to kind of like call me out? And I have my really good girlfriends. But the thing I always think about Sex in the City and how like every week they pretty much got together and they kind of like had like the breakfast thing. And okay, I just thought of someone that definitely is that for me. But so I feel like I have. Anyway, we're not going to do the friendship Olympics, but I have like maybe 2 different sets of friends, and like really, really good best friends. And my girls, which is a group of us, I feel like we don't get together as much as we used to. I mean, now I'm in Brooklyn, so it's kind of hard to kind of make time because we're all really super busy women. But I always think about Sex in the City and how, even though, I mean, it was just a TV show, right? But how, like, even though they were all super busy, they made time to see each other, like, at least once a week for, like, breakfast or brunch. And they also had money, right? And we're always like, let's do a potluck or a brunch somewhere at someone's house. And making those happen are few and far between because, again, the distance and the busy factor, right? So I wouldn't really say that they are in my everyday life as much as they used to serve that role for me. I do have another friend that is that for me, and I pretty much call her for that, and I'll just be like, so this is happening, and she'll be like, cut it out or whatever. So I have that, but I guess my question today, like, is that, like, what are the roles of friendships, and when do you know when someone is being hard on you because they love you and being just a hater, right? So that's another thing that sometimes with friendships, you're like, why is she always saying this? Or why is she, or why is she calling me out? Because I'm thinking of specific situations that I can't bring up. But there is always a line between I'm telling you this because I care for you and I want you to recognize what's going on, and I'm telling you this as a way of hating on you. And I think that if someone is your friend, you can definitely know the difference. And knowing when to hold on to it and when not to. Because I know, at least for me, if someone is my friend, I definitely hold them dear, and I almost love them to the detriment of myself sometimes. And I've had to learn when to let that go. Because I remember Wendy Williams, when she was on the radio saying, friendships are not forever. Friendships are supposed to take you from one end of your life to another. And after I heard that, that was when I let go of one of my best friends growing up. Like, oh my God, we went everywhere together. I was always at her house. She lived right across the street from me. We were together all the time. And it was hard for me to really come to terms that our friendship was over. I was a poet at the time, and I remember writing this poem like 2 different directions, and just basically saying two women that grew up together are now going in two separate ways, and them like being at a party and trying to reconcile that with each other and the decisions that they're making within this party. It was a pretty dope poem. Just tooting my own horn there. And I remember reading it to her, and I remember her being so offended. Like, is this about me? Okay, so basically the poem was like, I don't want to get into the details of the poem, but it was a moment in the poem where there was a decision to go home with somebody, pretty much. And one friend didn't, and one friend did want to go home with the guy. Or go out. It wasn't like go home to have sex, but just go out. Like, after the party, go home with guys that they didn't know. And that's something that me and this particular friend did all the time. I've actually written about the careless stuff that I did when I was younger. Only by the grace of God am I like okay, and nothing really traumatic has happened to me. I made a lot of stupid decisions, and once I got to the age where I realized those decisions were stupid, the friend that I used to make these stupid decisions with, it took me a long time to be like, you know what, this is not a healthy relationship for me to be in. And until this day, like, if I see her, like I saw her on Facebook, and I'm always trying to reach out to her, even though it's like years later and there's no we're definitely not friends, but like that connection that we had for all those years is so hard for me to kind of like say that didn't matter. But after Wendy Williams gave me that piece of advice, I definitely let it go, right? I mean, like I said, every once in a while it still comes up for me. But it's hard, and as women, I feel like, well, I wouldn't even say women, me. I would say me. I've always had attachment issues to people that I let into my life like that, right? So here I was trying to point something out in the only way that I knew how to at the time, which is through poetry, right? And she couldn't receive that, and she was offended, and automatically I pushed back. I let it go. I didn't try not to address it, because of course I'm always like, I'm a pleaser. I don't want to offend anybody. And so I try to think about, I do definitely want people in my life that will call, oh my gosh, this is 12 minutes already. I do want people in my life that will call me out, that will tell me when I'm wrong, right? And that will pretty much say, beloved, you need to get your stuff together, or, you know, this is not correct. And I just hope that my girlfriends, when I do that for them, they receive it, and that they continue to do that for me. And so I guess there's two separate issues, right? So girlfriends making time to see each other, is that a real, I guess, so I have two questions. It's everything I've said, these are the two questions that I have. One is, if you're a friend, like, what is the priority? Like, should girlfriends definitely make time to see each other no matter what? And how like, is that, should I be like dependent on the relationship? You know what I mean? Like, is that like a deal breaker? Like, you have to make time for each other or else? Which sounds kind of crazy, but, you know, like that whole, like, that reality check moment, right? So that's one question. And then the other question is, you know, who are the people in your life that is your Iyanla? Like, who are the people that will call you out? And is it important to have that? And how do you recognize when that person loves you and are just telling you what you need to hear, and versus someone that's hating, or someone that's like trying to point out your flaws because of their own insecurities? So that poem section could definitely have been like, what are you talking about? Like, we both used to do this. Like, why are you trying to make it seem like I'm the one? You know what I mean? Where that was an opportunity for us to kind of talk about, you know, how I was feeling about the differences in our relationship and how we were going. Anyway, it was just 13:41, and I definitely need to start. I'm finishing up my next video blog, which is on dating as a nomad. I'm really excited about this video blog and getting that out to you guys. Hopefully, it should be out early next month. So that's what I'm going to be working on right now. And until then, I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, beloved. Peace out.